Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So in today's video we will be talking about Pjanic and his updates on him arriving at FC Barcelona. Then we are going to be moving on to the internal debate that's going on within the club, where they are debating if they should have either Ansu Fati or Depay to play that number 9 for the upcoming season. Then we will be talking about Barcelona assessing their right back position, which does include Nelson Semedo. And then lastly we will be talking about Luis Suarez and his departure updates with the club. And so there is a lot to talk about. There is a lot of decisions that Barcelona do need to make, and we are first going to start with Pjanic. And it says here, according to ROMEO, AGRESTI, Pjanic is now at the airport ready to fly at FC Barcelona, and so he is on his way to go to the club. It is very exciting to hear that Pjanic will be arriving at Barcelona within these next 12 hours. And so the main reason why this is such big news is because ever since we did play against Napoli in that UCL match, we have never talked about Pjanic again. And so it has been quite a while. We haven't even talked about Pjanic when it comes to the starting 11 predictions for the upcoming season. And so look, Pjanic is a great player, and we know that. We know that Pjanic can be a world-class player. Could he find himself to struggle within this club and try to adapt in the system that Barcelona do run? Yes, so it will take time for him to adapt to this team. But I think that the main reason, right, why we haven't really talked about Pjanic and why he has been so unpopular in our discussions and why he's being put in the back burner, it is because of how this happened. And it's unfortunate to see Pjanic participate in the most peak Bartomeu Abidal type of deal that did happen this summer, and that was in the swap deal between Pjanic and Arthur Melo. Again, that was peak Bartomeu. Why the only reason why they even completed that swap deal is for their own financial interests, and that did somewhat bother us fans to see this swap deal did take place, because Arthur Melo was one of our gems, a player where we knew he could serve Barcelona for a very long time. He did have that Xavi DNA, and to see Arthur Melo be swapped with Pjanic, who's 30 years old, I think that is the reason why we have neglected to talk about Pjanic. Now, this does not mean that we should be hating on Pjanic, but again, it's very unfortunate to see a situation like this happen. And this is a very tricky situation when it comes to Pjanic, right? Because yes, he was swapped for an economic reason, just so Barcelona can post a profit before the end of the financial year, and also because of Koeman, right? Koeman is a new appointed coach, and who knows if Koeman even needs his services within this starting 11 that he is building. And I really do believe that Koeman went into this club and he's like, okay, wait a minute, so you brought Pjanic only for a economic reason, not for a sporting reason, and not only that, but you brought him in without the approval of Setien. And now that I am here, if Pjanic was not in Setien's plans, how is he going to be in my plans? And so it does get very confusing for Ronald Koeman, because there's so many reasons on why Pjanic should not be wearing this Barcelona shirt. But then again, this does not mean that we should be hating on Pjanic. This is a player that we should be talking about and see how he could contribute with this great club. And so hopefully he does find a spot within this squad, because seeing the options of midfielders we have in our squad right now, we have Elenia, Ricky Puig, De Jong, potentially maybe even Wijnaldum. We also have Sergio Busquets. It's very saturated and many players are up and coming. So with that being said, we should expect Pjanic to arrive at Barcelona, take the PCR test, and then moving on to training individually and then train with the group. Is the exact same schedule that Messi, Coutinho, and many other players had to go through before they do train with the other players. And ultimately, I do hope that Pjanic does become a great for Barcelona. I hope that he does well, and I wish him a lot of luck. Moving on to the next topic of today, and we are going to be talking about Ansu Fati and Depay. And so this is a very interesting story, right? Because when I first read this, I'm like, wait a minute, this could actually work out. And so I do want to give you guys some context on why this story even came up. So basically, like I explained in my last video, Ansu Fati has played as a number 9 before. This is nothing new. The conversation of trying Ansu Fati to play that striker is nothing new. He was introduced as a left winger in Juvenile A and in the preseason of Barcelona B, but throughout his whole life, Ansu Fati was a number 9. And it says here, according to Fernando Polo, at the club, there is an internal debate on whether they should buy a striker like Depay or play Ansu Fati in that position. The youngster has previously exploded, proving that he can make a difference while playing up front. So let's stop right there, right? Because this is a very interesting conversation. And so if we are going to have a conversation of Ansu Fati playing the number 9, I'm going to give you guys the financial reason on why this does make sense, and I'm going to give you guys the sporting reason on why this does make sense. And so starting with the first one, the financial reason. Playing Ansu Fati and making him the main starter to play that number 9 for Barcelona would mean that Barcelona would not need to invest on a striker no more, meaning we don't have to pay pay 65 to 111 million euros for Lautaro Martinez, nor do we have to pay 25 million for Depay. And even though that is a very cheap price, it still means that we don't have to pay 25 million. And even if we go to the next summer, knowing that we're going to be in a much better financial position, we still don't have to invest any money on a number 9. And that's what makes it so exciting, is that knowing that we don't have to invest money elsewhere, we can use that money and really focus that and spend that money to bring in a better defensive line. Something that we have always wanted, something that we have always questioned when we did say, why are we spending all this money and focus on our attack when it should be going on our defenses? So I think that if Barcelona is put in that position where they say, wait a minute, we don't have to spend 65 to 25 million euros on any striker or our attack, where are we going to put this money? Let's see if we can do this with the right back position or the left back position or maybe even the center back position, and it won't harm us as it did before. So financially, it does make a lot of sense. It does have a great ripple effect throughout the whole team and outside the club. And then moving on to point number 2, which is the sporting reason. Ansu Fati can greatly adapt to this role, because going back to what I previously did say, Ansu Fati will have no trouble playing that striker position. And I think that because we have seen Ansu Fati become so lethal in the opposition's box, knowing that he can score from outside the box and inside the box, why would we not want to put Ansu Fati in that position? And seeing what Ansu Fati can become, seeing how well balanced he is and how much pace he does bring. One of the best examples to see that was in the game against Germany and Ukraine. What Ansu Fati could do that Barcelona could have never done in the previous season was punish the spaces that these defenders do leave behind. Dembele has done that with Tottenham in the UCL, and Ansu Fati can do that to any team for the upcoming season. And this is some very simple stuff, right? Like, of course they can do that, but we have to remember that this is a team, Barcelona, where we have seen where they cannot get out of any situation when it comes to counter-attacking their opposition. And so this makes so much sense to have. And having Ansu Fati play that number 9 will also free up the role on the left wing area, which means that Dembele can easily take that spot. And if you're going to tell me that Ansu Fati can play that number 9 and have Dembele on the left and maybe even potentially have Messi on the right, that is going to work wonders. You would have everything you need within that front 3, and so it just makes so much sense to do that. And so again, this is going to have a ripple effect on other players and give other players opportunity. Now, there is a very good point that many people have put out, and they said this: Ansu Fati is too young to be taking that role. Ansu Fati cannot be relied on at that young of an age, because at 17 years old, to give him the responsibility to take on Luis Suarez's shoes, it would not make any sense. Ansu Fati could choke, Ansu Fati could underdeliver and potentially hinder his development. And that is a very, very good point, because we have seen many young players being put out there on the field, underdeliver, then never show up again. Historically, we have seen that. And so this is a very valid point. But I honestly do think that this is going to come down to how the coach communicates the role for Ansu Fati. Like, what does he expect for him to deliver when he does play in that role? Because one of the biggest mistakes a coach and a player do have throughout a season is that the coach does not communicate to the striker on what his role should be, what are his duties, where does he need to be placed, how does he need to be placed, when and where to make those runs. That all comes down to the quality of the coach. And I think that if Koeman can really nail that down for Ansu Fati, I honestly do not see no problem. And I think that what's greatly going to help Ansu Fati is what he already has, which is the confidence of holding that responsibility. And Luis Enrique, who is the Spanish coach, said this extremely well. He said this: it's not normal for him to have this spark and self-confidence at this age. Even though I know him well and what he's capable of, I can't say I'm not surprised. He showed such bravery and daring to do what he did in the second minute, beating a player so naturally. And so look, final conclusion, there are more reasons to place Ansu Fati as that new number 9 for FC Barcelona in the upcoming season. I am looking forward for that. I also do think that because we have seen Ansu Fati be so consistent since the day he made his debut for Barcelona until the last goal he did score for Spain, Ansu Fati has proven that he can be consistent, and it would only make sense to continue to try him out on the field in order for Ansu Fati to develop his game. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys see Ansu Fati take on that role, or do you want to continue seeing him play that left wing position? Moving on to the next topic of the day, and we're going to be talking about Nelson Semedo. And it says here, according to Gabriel Sanz, there was a meeting between Jorge Mendes and Barcelona. The Portuguese representative would have already brought a substantial offer for Semedo, but he hasn't transcended the name of the club. And so finally, we are hearing reports of Barcelona assessing their right back area. And I assume that there is back and forth negotiations on whether they should give Semedo that 5-year contract or they should sell Semedo within this summer. And I also do assume that Koeman Koeman is assessing what Semedo could bring towards this club. I think that Koeman will have that final answer. But here's the big problem that I have been noticing within this club, and I'm going to go based off the reports. The only player that Barcelona is linked with right now, as we do speak, is Hector Bellerin. And to be very honest, he is not favored by many people, nor the fans, not even the people that work within the club. Besides Hector Bellerin, the only player that was linked to Barcelona when it comes to the right back position was Serginho Dest. But even then, that interest from FC Barcelona has fallen for Dest. Koeman said that yes, he does like this player, but it is not the right time to bring Serginho Dest in. And so if it's not going to be Serginho Dest, and knowing that Hector Bellerin is not favored, nor may he not even be good enough to start in Barcelona, who is going to be our next right back? And so right now, as for Nelson Semedo, his future is in the air. We don't know what's going to happen. Not even I can tell you what's going to happen, because honestly, I don't even think Barcelona knows what's going to happen when it comes to that right back position. Do they want to keep Semedo? Do they want to use him as a super sub? Do they want to sell him? Are they going to bring a new right back? Who's going to be that right back? I think that Barcelona themselves can't even answer those questions. And so hopefully Barcelona do get it right. I hope that Koeman does change his mind for whatever reason, because right now I do favor Serginho Dest over many other right backs. There's not many right backs out there in the market that is looking for a move from their club, so it's going to be extremely difficult to find one, but hopefully we do find the best case scenario. Now moving on to the last topic of the day, and we're going to be talking about Luis Suarez. And the only reason why I'm going to bring this up is because I do want to assess one thing. There are many questions surrounding the move of Luis Suarez, and that is, why is it taking so long for Luis Suarez to go to Juventus? Is Suarez going to stay? Does Koeman favor keeping Luis Suarez in Barcelona for the upcoming season? Because we have some reports about that. And it says here, according to ROMEO Agresti, Luis Suarez is studying to take his Italian exam next week. There are no doubts. Juventus are working day and night on this deal. And that's it, right? I think that is why it's taking so long for Luis Suarez to make this move happen. Yes, there's this other problem whether Barcelona should pay the 14 million euros to Luis Suarez for cutting this contract, but I think that because Barcelona and Juventus are seeing that Suarez is really going through a hassle to try and get that passport in, Barcelona is going to have no problem to pay that 14 million. I think that they are going to find an agreement, and I think that it will be unnecessary for Barcelona to continue to question on why they should pay 14 million to Luis Suarez after seeing all this hassle that Luis Suarez does have to go through. And so the deal is still on. Juventus will be giving Luis Suarez a 2 or 3 year contract, paying him 10 million per season. So that'll be it for today's Barcelona daily news. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please feel free to hit me on Instagram or Twitter. You can DM me, message me, do whatever. We can talk about football. And so yeah, that is where we do stand today. It's very busy. Multiple deals are being worked out, and so I just hope for the best for this FC Barcelona team within this transfer window. And so again, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.